Hey guys, this is Jamie. So today we're gonna be talking about the Scottish gender recognition reform. I truly hope you've heard about it at this point. So I'm gonna cover a bit of what went on, and then I'll give my own opinion on it. So first of all, what went on was Scotland proposed their own bill when it comes to trans people, and specifically, I want to really highlight that these are the points which were considered and which were passed in Scotland, and then they went further into the UK, into the Conservative Party to decide, and basically. So let's go over the Gender Recognition Act first, so that you are more familiar with it before you read some TERF propaganda or whatever. So essentially what the bill proposed was the fact that the Scottish government agreed that when it comes to changing your legal gender in your documents, such as passports, different IDs, would not require for you to wait until the age of 18 as it was prior, done back in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just really pissed off about all of this. So, and it would allow people from the age of 16 to legally change their gender. So, and it would also mean that people after the age of 16 would just have to live in their gender after they've discovered themselves, obviously, for 6 months instead of 2 years prior to getting their documents changed. So I want to really, really emphasize that this does not involve HRT, this does not involve the doctor's diagnosis, and etc. When it comes to HRT, there are different rules at play, and every country has a different set of rules. Now, then that went into the UK Parliament. Obviously, Rishi Sunak, being the absolute dickhead that he is and a fucking conservative nonce, probably not a nonce, a conservative wanker, he decided, why not veto this bill? And specifically right now, I feel like it's very harmful for any bill to be blocked when it comes to trans rights, and specifically when trans rights are supposed to be moving forwards. I know there's been a lot of obviously talk when it comes to the US. There's a lot of talk when it comes to different countries which are passing rights, which are blocking them, and etc. But I really wanted to highlight this one because, not just because I studied in Scotland for a bit, and I remember quite vividly the LGBT scene there, and it was really long while ago that I was in Scotland, but I just wanted to say that, like, sort of seeing the UK literally fall face flat from Brexit and everything else, and the fact that I still have friends who live there, and I just have compassion for every Scottish and British trans person, specifically in these difficult times. I just wanted to say that it's absolutely devastating that it got blocked. So what happened was that it got blocked because the government of the UK issued Section 35, which means that they are allowed to block a Scottish bill in the British Parliament, which means that this was actually the first time in history that the British Parliament has decided to do that, and specifically that it has been done against trans people is absolutely alarming. People have been obviously taking sides. There's a lot of TERFs, there's a lot of so-called feminists who think that this, for some reason, is making their life worse. I really want to emphasize again, this is not about HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. This is literally about how a person is, how a person identifies. So this is literally, we're talking about the start of a gender transition. Now I want to shed some light. I personally can't have my documents changed because it's very difficult. I've tried and it's still very difficult. As you may have noticed, I have been transitioning for quite a while. So I do understand how it's like not to have your ID not match who you really are. And I find it very devastating that in the Western world, and specifically in progressive countries, there are steps which are eliminating the accessibility, the understanding, and the compassion for trans people. I just feel like the people who get scared of this bill just don't know what harm they're causing, and they just do not want to face their fears that someone can be different, or that it is challenging their own sort of perspective, their opinion. And I find it very egoistical, it's very self-centered for someone to impose that something like this can even be a threat. I really wanted to speak about this because, again, from a personal perspective, I know how it's like not to have your ID changed because of certain rules in place. So I have been transitioning for years now. I have known that I've been male pretty much since birth. And I have not been able to change my documents due to my place of birth. I want to live in a world where you are allowed to change your documents. It doesn't matter in which location you are. The fact that this is happening in this age, the fact that there are powers which can, like in this case the UK government, can just ban it just because they feel like it, or just because of some fear-mongering by TERFs like J.K. Rowling and people who support her, is absolutely devastating. This bill holds absolutely zero harm to women. There's no such thing as trans woman, or rather, let's use their terminology, men who will change their gender to abuse women. I even saw a really good post which meant that men can still abuse women regardless, so why would they go the lengths to do it? Just think about it clearly. If it is so hard to live in a world where people do not accept you and you can't even change your ID, why would people go the lengths to do that? There have been no cases of such obscene behavior. If you want to talk about male and female violence, there are a lot of outlets. There is a lot of awareness. Trans women do not impose any risk. And specifically, I want to really emphasize that trans men do not impose any risk on women either. As a trans man, I am not taking away your femininity. As a trans man, I am not doing any harm. I think you really need to look at yourself in the mirror and think, who am I actually causing harm to? Trans people are a very small group. I just feel very shocked by this whole spectacle from Rishi Sunak and co. And I'm also a bit disgusted that there's a lot of people who are not talking about this, who in my opinion should be talking. there is a lot going on in the world. There's obviously war happening. But neither should we be sleeping on our rights. And an extra special shout out to everyone who allowed to J.K. Rowling to pretty much stamp her disgusting beliefs onto this, and everyone who supports her. I just wanted to say that everyone who thinks that it's okay to buy merch, it's okay to support her, is not a trans ally and will never be in my eyes. If you truly want to be a trans ally, you have to fucking raise awareness at this point. Or at least stop supporting someone that's ignorant and who has so much power. I am truly disappointed in humanity, as I am every day already. But this bill really shook me to the core. I also wanted to do one last shout out. I understand that a lot of people decide to stay in their lanes, and specifically different activists, but I have yet to see someone have a proper public outcry. There's a lot of activists which are trans. I've seen statements though from Stonewall and etc. which are talking about this. There's not enough talk about the fact about this bill. And also there's a lot of talk, which I agree with, that the UK using Section 35 for this case is absolutely disgusting, and specifically in the fact that Scotland is its own country and shouldn't have bills just nulled because of some fucking fear-mongering reason. So I agree with that. That it does need to be talked about Scottish independence and the fact that Scotland needs to move forward with this gender bill, which will absolutely just improve lives. So yeah, I also wanted to just say that I am truly sorry for everyone who gets affected by this. And I hope this will not bring a cascade of even more negative or banned bills which could have improved our lives. Thank you so much for watching this video. I truly hope this, if you're British obviously, or Scottish in this case specifically, you feel that you are less alone. If you didn't know this, raise awareness. And I truly wish the world was more revolted than it is. So far it's just a few screams when there should be a bigger outrage. Thank you so much for watching, and I would really appreciate if you could share this video or share just the fact about the bill getting banned. Thank you so much.